the story that he builds these off the principles of the Maori is actually part of how the New Zealand All Blacks culture is built. Like they actually, before every game, have a haka dance, which is a Maori ritual to its physical synchrony. And it actually is it's incredibly intimidating, but it also binds and bonds all the players together before each game. It's really beautiful too. And it's also an homage to that traditional ritual in New Zealand culture. And so when I think of like traditional rituals, there's something that is really powerful about it, because the ones that have survived are the ones that probably through cultural evolution worked best for binding groups together. And so those groups succeeded in parts because they had rituals that made cooperation easier for them to do in environments that are often really precarious and dangerous. And so I think there's a lot of insights to be learned from those rituals. And then the other thing I'd say is that those rituals often come from environments in which our brain evolved. And so I take like an evolutionary biology understanding of human psychology, which is that our brains evolved almost through the entirety of human history in small groups where we needed to cooperate. We told stories in small groups to communicate things. We didn't communicate using technology like we are here. And that's one of the reasons that we packed our book with stories, because we knew the science and we wanted to find stories that helped transmit the science, because stories is how the brain is designed to share and understand the world, because that's what it's been doing almost through the entirety of human history. And it's been doing those in small groups. And so understanding and that's part of our natural social environment is us cooperating and communicating in small groups. It's important to understand that, because when we can activate that psychology, not only does it motivate people to work together, but often feels really good. If you've ever been on a successful team, whether it's at work or in sports or in your youth, it feels good. And you often feel a bond with those people for years after. Like I can still stay in touch with people who are former teammates, and I see them and it's like a decade has not passed, because we built a bond that persists across time through those shared experiences and working together. You know, you can trust them, you know, they have your back. And that's also part of why this psychology is also really effective among military groups, because they have to defend one another in incredibly dangerous situations, sacrificing their life to do it. I mean, I've read interviews with people who've been in war, and my grandfather was a veteran. And what they say is that they actually do it, not often, not even for their country. They do the things they do to defend and protect the people that are in the trenches with them, because they have such a sense of bond with those individuals. And so I think that that's the psychology that actually can be leveraged to do good things. And so I love that you're using these insights to do this. And I would say, like, if you're going to train these like youth who are going to go out and try to, you know, change the world in some way, one of the things that's going to help them over a long period of time is that they have a community, because they're going to hit roadblocks. They're going to need to brainstorm. They're going to need fresh ideas. And if they have a sense of cohesion, and they go back out into the world after this training, they can lean on this team for insights, support, connections, networking, ideas that allow them to be vastly more powerful and expand their reach. I loved how you talked about things like collective language. That's one of the things that leaders do. Leaders that are successful use collective pronouns twice as often. There's also a new study that I didn't have time to put in my book because it came out after our book, but that it was based in Germany. Organizations that used a lot of collective language in their annual reports were vastly more profitable than those that didn't. And so I would say that that's the type of language that you want to use to create a sense that you're not competing with one another. We're bringing you all in as individuals because you're passionate for maybe different projects, but we're going to train you together, and you're going to be a team that's going to go out in the world and change the world in some way. And so they have a vision, a common goal, a sense of shared purpose, and then they're going to work and support one another rather than compete against one another to make that come to life, I think would be the way to do it. And I love the idea of like thinking about what are some rituals. And I say that another thing about leadership is that it's not just top down, it's channeling the thoughts and ideas and creativity of the group. So, you know, when it comes to ritual, I would ask them what rituals they want to make as part of their group, or that kind of emerge naturally, and then try to find ways to foster and sustain them, because that also shows that you're, as a leader, listening to them and embodying the things that they care about and are bringing forward into the conversation.